Good morning. May God's grace and the peace of Jesus Christ be with you all on this bright and beautiful day. We have gathered in the presence of God who calls us to worship, and so we are here. We are here in this space, and we are gathered across time and space to turn our hearts and our minds to worship God. It is especially important for us to welcome all who are guests with us in worship today. You will find welcome cards and a QR code in your pew racks or on your screen. We'd love to have some information so that we can reach out and welcome you this week. And we welcome all guests, members, friends of the congregation, visitors from out of town to join us for a time of refreshment. We'll be in McFarland Hall, just behind the sanctuary, using either hallway on either side of the sanctuary. Please join us for coffee and donuts and conversation. This morning, as we live into a program year centered on the vision of speaking the truth in love, we are honored to welcome Reverend Eugene Cho as our distinguished guest preacher. Reverend Cho is a leader, a pastor, and a voice for the most vulnerable in our world. As the president and CEO of Bread for the World, Eugene works at the intersection of Christian discipleship and advocacy, responding to the mandate given by Jesus himself, "I was hungry, and you fed me." We are blessed to have a long-time relationship with Bread for the World through the work of many, many in our congregation, including our own Jim Morris, who served for several years as the executive director of the United Nations World Food Program. This morning, we welcome Reverend Cho to Second's pulpit and to this community of faith. He is in the back of the sanctuary now, but Reverend Cho, we welcome you to Second Church. And now I want to introduce Lisa Enright, who is the coordinator of Northside Mission Ministries. At Second, we focus our mission and community outreach in three areas: education, housing, and hunger. In doing so, we partner with several national and global organizations like Bread for the World, the Super Bowl of Caring, Habitat for Humanity, the Umoja Project in Kenya. Lisa, I wonder if you can tell me a little bit about what we're doing locally this fall.
Yes, we have a lot of programs this fall that focus on education, housing, and hunger. In education, we are deepening our relationship with the Washington Township schools. One of the ways that we are doing this is providing snack backpacks to schools centrally located to Second, so students that are food insecure in the evening have nutritious snacks until they return to school. Second is also dedicating $19,000 this fall for our Adopt a Classroom program to help teachers fund out-of-pocket projects for their students.
So that's one of the things we're doing in education. I know that in April we hosted a summit here on the crisis and affordable housing in our area. Can you tell me a little bit about our housing initiatives locally?
Yeah, of course. Second is partnering with faith-based organizations to educate and equip our community on the crisis of evictions and the relationship between tenants and landlords. The next opportunity to learn and engage is actually today at 2:30 p.m. at First Baptist Church.
Wonderful. And we know that housing and food security go together. The Northside Food Pantry, which you lead, is housed right here in our building. I know we've had a couple of very busy and active years during the pandemic and all the economic challenges. Can you give us an update on the Food Pantry's ministry?
The food pantry has been especially busy this year due to the economy. Last year, we served over 18,000 individuals. This year, we have already served over 17,000 individuals, which is a 35% increase in assistance from last year.
I know that the numbers are stunning, but the stories are really the heart of the ministry. Can you share a story with us from the food pantry for these folks?
Yeah, we recently had a husband and wife come to the pantry on a Tuesday afternoon, and they said that this was their first time and they didn't know what to do. Could we help them? And I said, of course we can help you. And she made a comment that she didn't have any food left in their home. And I said, look through this window, and I said, you will have plenty of groceries once you shop and take them home. and she broke down and cried and said, "You have no idea what this means to my family." The data entry person and I looked at each other and said at the same time, "This is why we do this." It's not an isolated story. Many of our families are struggling to make ends meet and tell us all the time that we have no idea what this means to them. We just don't know all the struggles that our families are going through, but we offer everyone that walks through our pantry an opportunity to give a prayer request. 85% of our families ask us to pray for either them or their family and are truly comforted by our church, Second Presbyterian Church, that they are praying for them.
Lisa, one thing I've learned about this congregation is that when they know of a need, they respond to that need. So how can we respond to the need you're describing?
We can always use support, especially now as our assistance has increased by 35%. But I first want to thank everyone here that is continuing to support us. As a Matthew 25 church, we are called to feed the hungry. We are also called to be the hands and feet of Christ. I recently had one of our volunteers stop me to say she knows that she's in the pantry to help others, but when she is in that space, she feels closer to God and she feels God walking alongside her. She gets as much as she is giving. Between the garden and the pantry, we need 100 volunteers a week to operate the pantry like a grocery store. That's right, 100 volunteers. We currently have a small group of people making commitments to this ministry and are currently at capacity. It would be amazing if 100 new volunteers commit to 1 day a month to serve either in the garden or the pantry. I can tell you through my experience, it is life-changing to walk alongside our neighbors.
So 100 new volunteers. There are about 550 of you in this space right now. So if 20% of us would commit to 1 day a month working in the food pantry, we could meet that need. And so I invite you to either email Lisa, check the church website at secondchurch.org/serve, or simply come up and find her after the service. We would love to make that connection with you as we seek to be a church for the city of Indianapolis. And now let us turn our hearts and our minds to worship.